Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much for coming. I wanted to tell you a little bit about why we're even doing this call. And I'm asking you when you come in to go ahead and mute yourself so that our speakers can be heard by everyone. At the end, you're going to have the opportunity to unmute and ask questions, which is always a great time. But by then, we won't be recording anymore to protect your privacy. So I wanted to let you know I am Nina Williamson, and I'm the one who started this call. And the reason I wanted to do this call is because heart disease runs in my family on both sides. But I have seen firsthand that just because there is some heredity there doesn't mean you have to end up with heart disease. And I know that we can make a big difference with the choices we make. And that's the reason I put together this call, because I wanted you to hear what a difference those choices can make for everyone, regardless of what your heritage is. So let's start out by hearing from our um, our main speaker. If you haven't muted yourself, please go ahead and do that now. Our main speaker is Debbi Walton. Let me tell you who she is. Debbi has been 48 years in the fitness and wellness industry. In corporate fitness, she's a master personal trainer, certified in plant-based nutrition with eCornell, and March 1st is releasing her book, Strength Training 101, S.O.S. Secrets of Success, on Amazon. I know when you get through hearing her, you're probably going to want that book. I know I want it already. I'm excited about that. It's perfect for beginners or anyone who wants a quick, very effective workout. Debbi has a true passion for helping you live your healthiest life. So, Debbi, thank you for coming to the call. I'm going to put this on speaker view now so that we can see you better. And Debbi, take it away.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Nina. That's interesting that you have heart disease on both sides of your family tree. That's exactly why I started studying nutrition, because we're eating up with it. So, a little bit about my story. My mom had a heart attack at age 29. And sadly, that's becoming a little more common now. I read a couple days ago that doctors are alarmed that 20 and 30-year-old women are increasingly having strokes, and so that's arterial disease, you guys. So anyway, my mom had a heart attack at 29. I was 5 years old. I believe it was from emotional stress. She was in a very bad marriage, and physical stress. They had actually moved stone that day to build a stone wall. And both of those factors, and I want women to hear, emotional stress, same as physical stress, causes vascular constriction. Okay, I want you to hear that loud and clear, because women don't pay attention to that tightness in their chest enough, and that can be from stress and vascular constriction. So let's please not ignore our vascular health. There are estimated 60,000 miles of vascular arteries, veins, and capillaries in our body. Think about that. 60,000 miles. Oh, I've got to go back and mention that my mom passed at 36. She was on meds for the rest of her short 9 years, and I guess that's 7 years from when she had the heart attack and passed. And when my grandmother, her mom, got the phone call that her daughter had passed, she had a massive heart attack. She was 56, I believe, from total stress. My grandmother was the life of the party. She was really thin. She was very active. She was an LPN. She would be like the last person you would think would have a massive heart attack, but it was one stressful phone call. So I just really need women to hear that, and men, but women tend to ignore their heart warning signs more. So taking care of our those 60,000 miles is so smart. And I wanted to live to raise my kids that we hadn't had yet. I hadn't been married but a few years, and we started talking about having a family, and I didn't want to have my kids motherless. It was a really, really hard time when I was 13 and lost my mom. It was sudden heart attacks, strokes are life changing, you guys. And so I wanted to live to raise my kids. So we were living in South Carolina at the time, and I went back. I was teaching fitness. I've been teaching fitness for 48 years, but I knew that wasn't enough. So about 38 years ago, I went back to school to a master's program to study nutrition to try to see if there was anything I could do to lower my risk of heart disease, because doctors back then were telling me I pretty much was going to get it. Okay. And so the interesting thing is I went back to University of South Carolina, which it's a full loop. I don't know if I'll remember to tell y'all that, but one of our best studies came from University of South Carolina many years ago. So what I learned was plants are a huge part of the solution, the piece of the puzzle for our totality of health. And we're focusing tonight on vascular health, arterial health, heart, and brain, you guys. But I want you to know that poor vascular health, poor arterial health is absolutely linked to dementia and Alzheimer's, all of it. Okay. I would say, if I was going to say what's the single most important organ in your body, it's your vascular system. But there's a lot of important systems, but if you can't get oxygen to your heart and brain, you're in trouble. And so what I found out is that plants help restore the inner lining of that 60,000 miles to keep it smooth and supple, the opposite of high blood pressure. And that plants help your body make nitric oxide. I want you to remember that nitric oxide, when it's a chemical that our body releases when we need our arteries to open, like to combat that stress, or high fat meals, going through fast food, or, that's why Thanksgiving and Christmas tend to be the highest days for heart attacks, is because they cause the arteries to constrict, because they block the ability of the body to release nitric oxide. And plants help you make nitric oxide and help it to be released when you need it. And so when the understanding was discovered of what nitric oxide does, that discovery, the doctor won the Nobel Prize, you guys. It's important to give your body plants to make nitric oxide. So, again, flexible arteries, arterial health, nitric oxide release is the opposite of high blood pressure. What do we have in America? We have a huge high blood pressure problem, and people take blood pressure meds thinking that's going to negate the negative of high blood pressure. It just taps down the symptoms. It helps a little. It does not solve the problem, you guys. Plants also reduce inflammation, which is a big part of heart attack and stroke. And so totality, inflammation is the number one thing women and men, but women, it's crazy to me that doctors don't always check your CRP, your C-reactive protein, your inflammation. That's the number one thing you want to get checked, CRP, when you go get your blood work, because it'll tell you if that inflammation is high, something's wrong. Okay, it doesn't tell you exactly what's wrong, but then they can go investigating. It may be heart disease, it may be cancer, it may be other things, but
Mhm.
check your inflammation. I won't get my blood drawn unless they order that. And I've literally sat in the blood drawing office for over an hour waiting for a doctor to order it because I said, I'm not going to waste my time getting this. And that was a cardiologist. Make sure they're ordering the right thing. So anyway, when everybody is concerned about their cholesterol, and rightly so, and I have familial cholesterol. Okay, I have people tell me, well, my mom had high cholesterol, my dad, my body pumps it out, and that is a situation, that is a real thing. I have it. Okay, but until that LDL, that lousy cholesterol, gets oxidized from free radicals, and I know y'all have heard of that. Stress causes it, toxins cause it, ultra processed food
What?
causes it. Hey, iPhone, if you can mute yourself, that'd be great. I see a water
Yeah.
glass, and you're not muted. That'd be great. Down that inflammation, and plants bring down the inflammation. They're the only food group that naturally does that. I love that. And so when you bring down that free radical damage, you literally protect your lousy cholesterol from getting sticky. Now, it's not 100%, but it lowers your risk. My cholesterol borderline, like no statins. I'm not going to go there personally. I'm not, telling you what to do, but I'm not going to go there. But because they definitely have some side effects. And I don't know if you know this, and Dr. Corson will probably expand on this, but statins don't reduce the incidence of sudden death from heart attack. They reduce the incidence of small heart attack. Okay. Doctors don't always tell you that. So anyway, when you can keep that lousy cholesterol, the LDL, from getting sticky, it doesn't stick to the inside of the arteries. So it just keeps on floating, keeps on going down the river. And that's what we want, because when it sticks to the arteries, if you've got a big clump, and then those our arteries constrict from whatever, that can burst. And that is a heart attack or stroke, depending if it's in your heart or your brain. I hope that makes sense. So you want plants for the full spectrum of antioxidants. Taking an antioxidant multivitamin does not do the same thing. Plants have thousands of phytonutrients, and they are in the right combination. And so I learned that we need a lot of plants every day. And I had a couple problems. I had a husband that didn't like vegetables, and I eventually had a daughter that didn't like many vegetables, and it was a real problem trying to get either one of them to eat the 30 different, they're saying it's 30 different plants a week that we want to eat. And so I was giving people a list of fruits and veg that they should try to eat. And I constantly heard from my clients, I can't eat that many. And my own husband and daughter wouldn't eat that many. And it was hard as a mom to fix that many. And so fast forward, and I was introduced into plant powders concentrated to a capsule. And if you're skeptical, I was so skeptical. I was like, that I don't know how they can do that. But because I had a family member get off her heavy anti-inflammatory meds after being on these plant powders for just 2.5 months, I looked and I saw that had a nutrition facts label. That's a food label, you guys. That doesn't say supplement. And I was like, what? And then I investigated it, and I read the research. And back then there were probably, I don't know, 10 studies, but they had me in the top journal for cardiologists, the Journal of American College of Cardiology. They had me, but there were more. And so I told my husband, this is the most research proven nutritional I've ever seen in that time. I'd been studying nutrition for probably 14 years. I want the whole family on this. And let me tell you what happened when we added the fruit, veg, and berry. Let me tell you, some unexpected things happened. I took it for protection, proactive. But what happened was my husband's joints just the pain almost totally went away. Okay. He had been fighting joint pain for years. That's anti-inflammation. It lowered his insulin resistance. He was headed for diabetes. Half of Americans have are insulin resistant. I believe it's half. Dr. Corson can speak on that maybe, but and don't know it. And diabetes really increases your risk of heart attack and stroke, dementia, and Alzheimer's. Okay. And my husband lost 30 pounds with the capsules in the shake. I've been trying to help him lose that belly fat. You guys, belly fat is metabolically dangerous. And that's why women after menopause, because the fat moves up, become equal to men in heart attack. It's the inflammation from the belly fat. My middle daughter, the picky daughter, her immune system improved so much. The pediatrician wanted to know what I'd done, and she ordered. When she said, "Mean kids can get this free." Yeah, I'm going to get it for me and my son. We don't eat enough plants. And then both of their taste cravings changed. And now we know we didn't have this info. Nobody had this info back then, that the gut bacteria grows on what you feed it. And so we were feeding the good gut bacteria with these, and the gut bacteria determines what you crave. So you proliferate the gut bacteria. And my husband told me, yeah, I'll take those if I don't have to taste the veggies. Yeah, okay, just don't let them smell it, because you can smell the broccoli and kale in there. It's amazing. It's fresh produce made doable. And then I started out running my running partner. We thought something was wrong with her. That was at 2.5 months. I was in really good shape. I was 45. I felt great. But it's published now in the top journal for exercise enthusiasts as greatly protecting your protein from inflammation. You guys, it protects the whole body from inflammation. So she threw away her multivitamins. She started these fruits, veg, berries, and my anxiety greatly reduced. I lost the last little bit of weight that I was fighting pre-menopause. I breezed through menopause, is what I call it, with the capsules and the shake. But let's get back to heart health. When I go in for a rare well check and the doctors read my family health, they gasp. It's kind of funny now. I just wait for it. I'm just like, are they going to go or because they believe by reading about my mom. Oh, my dad died of a stroke in his late 50s. It goes back as far as we know, paternal, maternal. They just know I'm going to have heart disease. Okay. And then they check me all over, blood and blood pressure and pulse and cholesterol. And they're like, what are you doing? You look fat. I mean, your blood work, everything's fabulous. And so some of them have listened and looked at the research, and some have not, because not all doctors are into nutrition yet. Praise God for Dr. Corson and thousands of doctors that are like her, that are more into being proactive than throwing on the meds unless you really, really need the meds. But I can't promise you results, but I'm telling you, try it. Try it. All these results that our family had and all of my clients since coincide exactly with what the published research shows. Mm-hmm. Plants are protective. And I'm going to share one more crazy thing with you. Last thing is that I've had 3 bouts of angina since I've been on these plant powders for 24 years because I was under high stress. And that's what got me to look at them in the beginning. Okay. And so I won't go into detail why I did this. Well, I was in the car on vacation and I didn't have any water. So I was having chest angina for over an hour, and I didn't want to tell my husband. I didn't want to go to the emergency room. I can't promise you this. This is my experience. I opened this berry, 10 berries, an incredible vasodilator, put it under my tongue. In under 30 to 60 seconds, the angina was gone. That's happened 3 times. And I asked a nurse, and she said, you're getting it subliminally. It's going into your bloodstream and opening those arteries quick. I keep a couple of these in my purse. Okay. I can't promise you that, but it's pretty incredible. We can change the health trajectory. The number one, the first warning sign of 49% of all heart attacks is sudden death.
Hmm.
Let that sink in. Inflammation is a silent killer. You don't know what's going on in your arteries. You don't want to wait till that first heart attack. I pray that you will share this information with someone and bless them. Nina?
Amen. Thank you, Debbie. Wow, that was powerful. That was really powerful. And I think this is a great place to bring in my friend, Tony Gossett. Tony, if you could unmute yourself, and Debbie, if you could go ahead and mute yourself. I don't know if you've done that yet. Tony is a president and CEO in the oil industry in Texas, and I've known Tony for, my goodness, over 30 years now. Is that right, Tony?
Yes.
Yes, I thought so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we first met at church, and
Mm.
we, after a few years, we lost contact with each other. And then a friend told me that physically Tony was not doing well just a few short years ago and suggested that I might want to reach out to him. So I did. And I'll tell you, I was not thinking of, what I could do to help Tony because I had no idea what was going on. All I was really thinking about was I want to be able to speak to my friend before anything happens to him. So, Tony, when you and I first reconnected, what was your condition at that time?
At that point in time, you were the answer to many prayers because I had had over a period of about 10 years, 5 heart attacks, 12 stents. I've got a pacemaker and I've also had a congestive heart episode. And the last one, the congestive heart episode, had left me so devastated. I had no will to live. Nina, I remember when you called, you later on told me, Tony, I thought you were going to die because I literally was praying, God, please take me home. I know where I'm going to go. I just don't want to live like this. I can't live like this. I didn't think there was any future. And you recommended, you shared what had happened to your father, that he had had congestive heart failure, and
Hmm.
it really helped him. And so I said, well, I'll take a shot at this because I've always believed in nutrition. I've always supplemented, and now it never, sometimes it wasn't as consistent. And so I did this, and it was remarkable. I went through the detox period. A lot of people don't tell you that first 2 or 3 weeks, your body is getting really good stuff, and it's going to help you get rid of the really bad stuff. So my bones ached a little bit, my joints did, but that went away, and I feel incredible now. I still walk, I run some. Um, the I don't take statins either. I've also read the research, and um, my cholesterol is normal. My blood pressure averages somewhere around 109 over 60, 70. I have very low blood pressure. And part of that, I think, is probably the congestive heart issues. But the good thing is the refractive index is getting stronger, which is the measurement of how your heart pumps blood or how efficiently it does.
Hmm.
And so they measure that periodically. And it was below somewhere between 15 and 20%, which is on the really, really, really bad side of the equation.
Hmm.
And so now it's better. I can walk without getting winded. I can run a little bit without getting winded. And I'm building that up steadily as I go. I've lost weight, and I totally agree that what it does, one of the side effects of Juice Plus and the basically fruits and vegetables in a tablet is the fact it makes you want the good stuff.
Hmm.
You want more fruits and vegetables. They taste better to you. You begin to long for them. Um, began to say, if I don't have my fruit, I really just I had to have my fruit. And so it really created, it really helps you eat better. Uh, and it is, I look at it, Nina, like a good, strong football team. The root of a good, strong football team is its offensive and defensive line. And that's what I look at Juice Plus and the fruits and vegetables as my offensive and defensive line. I rarely ever get sick. It's only when I'm around a lot of sick people consistently and I don't wash my hands and I don't get away from them that I ever catch a little cold. But I just thank the Lord Jesus that you called because I was at a point of really, I didn't think I would make it a year. I really didn't. And God used you and what you recommended me to turn my life around, and I feel great. Um, and it's just been a neat ride with the good Lord and the ability to share with people. You can change where you're at. The you are responsible for your own health. The doctor is not.
Hmm.
You're in control of that.
Hmm.
That's the reason every time I go see a doctor, he'll say, "Well, Mr. Gossett, I think we might want to do this." And I go, "Well, what are the side effects? Tell me what the side effects are. What effect does this have it?" And I said, "Let me think about this, pray about this, and research it, and I'll get back with you." So I don't take carte blanche. I do take a blood thinner. That's one thing I do take. Like I said, I don't take statins, and I feel great. And it's been a just tremendous blessing in my life.
I
And
just,
I grew up loving vegetables. Go ahead.
yeah, I just wanted to tell everyone what it sounded like from my side of the conversation the first time I talked to you. After all those years, I remember being able to hear that you were out of breath. And I thought maybe you had run to get the phone or something, but you hadn't. The entire time we were talking, you sounded continually out of breath and struggling to be
Yes.
able to
Yes.
speak, even. And I remember what you told me was that
Mhm.
you could not take 3 steps without being winded because of the
Right.
congestive heart failure. And you told me about
Right.
the 5 heart attacks, and I remembered
Yeah.
thinking, oh my goodness, he could have another heart attack at any time, and that would be it.
Mhm.
I think I remember you
Yep.
telling me at least one of those heart attacks was what they call a widowmaker. Is that right?
Actually, two of them were.
Two of them were.
100% blocked. Yeah,
Wow.
100% blocked both times. And
Yeah.
thankfully, I had great doctors and they got to me
Hmm.
in time.
Hmm.
So,
So I did not know for certain what Juice Plus might do for you. And I just knew that I had seen it had helped my dad with the vascular issues that he had had. And of course, you don't take Juice Plus because you're trying to cure something. You take it because the nutrition in it helps all of your body work better because it's getting what it needs to thrive. What
right.
I do remember, though, is that once you started taking it, I think it was about 6 months later, you called me up. You had not been able to work for some time. You were running out of your savings,
Right.
and you weren't certain what the future held for you. And about 6 months later, I remember you calling me up one day and you said, Nina, guess where I am? And I don't know. And you said, I just got through walking about 2 miles looking for an apartment in a new city because I got a job. I've got a new job.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
just walked 2 miles and I'm not even winded.
Right.
And I
That's
knew
true.
that,
It's very true.
yeah, that Juice Plus had been the catalyst, not, the end all
Mhm.
for everything, but the catalyst that actually started helping
Mhm.
turn your health around so that you could begin to do more things, eat more fruits and vegetables, actually exercise, not be out of breath.
Mhm.
It was just meant so much to me, and I'm so thrilled you're here to tell that story to everyone because I want everyone to know that, you know, God is still in the miracle working business, and Juice
Yep.
Plus was a miracle to me. I know it was to you too. So, Dr.
Yep.
Corson, would you come in here now and talk to us a little bit about why this makes such a difference for people who have their genetics against them and people who already have their history going against them?
And thank you for sharing your story, Tony, and thank you for sharing so much, Debbie. So, I want to take it back to a story, a little small story that was powerful when I was in medical school of learning about a famous pathologist, Dr. Virchow. And over 100 years ago, he looked through a microscope at a section of artery from a person who had died from a heart attack. And looking at that, he looked carefully and he said, "This looks like inflammation." And that is exactly what it is. So he saw that through the microscope all those years ago, and he was exactly right that it's the inflammatory damage to the blood vessels throughout the body, including the heart and the brain, that causes so much trouble and grief ahead of where it probably needs to in many human beings earlier in life than it really has to. And that inflammatory is something that we can address by using more of nature's plants and being grateful for them and finding a way to get those plants into us starting as early as possible. Because plants are the foundation for human health. Yes, we may be designed to eat some other things besides plants, but a plant heavy diet is known in all cultures to reduce so many of our big problems, reduce the incidence of heart disease, reduce the incidence of dementia and cancer, diabetes, etc., inflammatory diseases. And so what I love about the approach that we have all learned about, those of us who are in the Jewish family, is a great joy that we have this way of concentrated, safe food that the body recognizes. It's food, it's safe, it has a USDA, Department of Agriculture label, not a supplement. It's not a supplement, it's food, juice plus concentrates and without a sugar load, either in a dried powder capsule form, which can be opened. We open these capsules for our babies in our family starting at 6 months old when they're starting their baby food. And of course, wonderful throughout pregnancy and nursing, and then all stages of life, all the way through the elder stages of life. Wonderful for athletes as well as non-athletes. But this concentrated produce, either in a capsule or opened up, the capsule essentials, the trio of 30 species, that's berries and vegetables and fruits, again, without a sugar load, or in the newer form, which a lot of people love without capsules, a dried powder that goes right into water, the Juice Plus Superfood Powder. And there is a chewable form designed for children, and some grown-ups like that very much as well. But using these concentrates, these are dried powdered concentrates that act the same as they are food, and they are these 30, big spectrum rainbow of plant foods. They are the most researched whole food nutrition in the world and in history. There are over 30 years of research, independent university research, not done by the Juice Plus company. And I love that there are now 51 such studies, peer-reviewed, published studies by university experts, each in their own field, whether they are in the field of immune system, cardiovascular health, wound healing, um, inflammation. All of these things have been studied and are continuing to be studied. So it's the most studied, independently documented whole food-based food in history. And I found out about this 25 years ago in order to help our teenagers when their school got vending machines, their health went downhill rather rapidly. It really opened my eyes to the impact of food being medicine or toxic. It can be one or the other. And we get to balance that in our lives and do it in a way that's compassionate and safe and fun and documented and very affordable. The amount of savings that we've had in our family has been extraordinary from using this approach. And so I love that we can decrease systemic inflammation. And this means decreasing inflammation throughout the blood vessels, which is very much about acquired heart disease, atherosclerotic heart disease. We want to decrease the inflammatory load that injures the blood vessels. And that, of course, applies to the brain. Dr. Tamara Sachs did a brilliant talk this Monday, which was recorded, and you can get that from the person who shared this with you. Her talk was on the connection of the gut, the microbiome, the good germs in the gut that are fed by these plant foods, very key, and that interaction between the gut and the brain and the heart, and made the point that whatever food patterns are good for the heart are good for the brain. I think most people know that. And so it's just joyful when we realize we're bringing down insulin resistance. That's been shown with Juice Plus, even in children. We're bringing down systemic inflammation, which is a major offender. Uncontrolled inflammatory damage is what damages our blood vessels, our heart and our brain, our kidneys. And then helping the body to repair better. I love the early studies that were done on Juice Plus in the 1990s, showing a very big reduction in DNA damage in human beings between the time that they started using their Juice Plus nutrition, additionally to what they're eating, and just 2 months later, a big decrease in mistakes that the DNA is making during cell division. And that's where our cancer cells come from, is mistakes, strand breakage of DNA. That is reduced greatly. I just love what plants do for us, and we call it plant power. My favorite hashtag is plants make people happy, because I think that's very true. And we have something special. My favorite program that we have is the Healthy Starts program, which is free for children. And I love that children can be attached for free to their mom or dad or grandparent or other loved one's order who's a grown-up. And it comes free for the child in that same box, and they can be on that program from their 4th birthday up to their 26th birthday. So from age 4 through age 25, free to kids. And that's how I got interested, because I was eating well, my husband was eating well, and we were positive we did not need Juice Plus, although we knew it was safe and smart. But our kids needed it when they became teenagers, and the impact was so great for our kids. And then for us, the kids won't take it if their grown-ups don't take it. That's generally the case. So we did it knowing it's safe and it's smart, so our kids would do it. And here, about 6 or 7 months later, my husband and I were both astonished by how much better our own health and resilience was. My immune system was working better. I was less inflamed. I had no more incidences of bronchitis and antibiotics after air travel. That just stopped happening. And I'd had that my whole life. And just better brain function. And that's also proven with Juice Plus. So we fell in love with it. We know that when we can do something safe, that's food that body recognizes that's good for the human body and proven to make a good difference, that we just want to share it with people. And I just love sharing this free program called Healthy Start. So if you find that's interesting, please ask the person who shared this with you. I just think this week, we all had a reminder, those of us who are in the field of health. There's a new study showing that, and this is not good news, but the good news is we can make a difference with it. But heart disease in young women is expected to increase dramatically. And this new study published in Scientific American, young women are projected heart disease to rise steeply by the year 2050. It's already rising. So we can do something about this. And major risk factors are diabetes, and we want to decrease insulin resistance. We want to help people to have that type 2 diabetes not starting. And we could see even in childhood that we can reduce insulin resistance adding Juice Plus. We want to not have high blood pressure, uncontrolled high blood pressure. So that's a huge risk for acquired heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, or overweight. And again, when our Debbi Walton had referred to this, our own good germs, when they're in the right numbers and the right good species growing in our gut the way they should be, fed by plant foods, a wide variety of them, then they are helping us make our own GLP-1 instead of needing to do artificial drugs, which are not only expensive, but have some difficult side effects. They're making our own GLP-1 hormones to help us cut off our appetite when that's appropriate, naturally. And then smoking, of course, we want to really try hard to not be smoking and not have secondary smoke and not have environmental contamination in our air, because that also causes heart disease. So reducing these factors and increasing the joy, we know that's huge. Debbie referred to stress. We want to have those good relationships, good meaning in our lives, caring for each other within our families and our communities. When we do all those things, our lives just become more happy, and our health becomes extended in a very happy, more functional way. And that's really the best way to decrease heart disease, is doing those things. So I'll stop there. It's been a long call. I want to respect people's time, but we really have some good answers to help people get on a good path at any point in life, starting as early as pregnancy. That's my favorite place to start, when people know about it.
So I want to apologize to you, Dr. Corson, because I forgot to give you the introduction that you deserved. I know when y'all were listening to her, you can hear everything I'm about to tell you because she knows what she's talking about, and you can tell when she says it. She earned both her college and medical degrees from Yale University. She was a family physician, was a non-commissioned officer in the U.S. Public Health Service, and later entered functional medicine and nutrition. She's the mother to 4 sons, the grandmother to 6. She's been married 50 years to her husband, George, who was also in internal medicine and emergency medicine. And both of them have retired into the wellness movement with Juice Plus Functional Foods and Tower Gardens to help people regain and protect their health. And Tower Garden is an aeroponic gardening system that you can do indoors, even to help you grow your own fruits and vegetables, quality fruits and vegetables. So sorry I did that backwards, Dr. Corson, but thank you. And I'm going to stop the
That's
recording
okay. I
now.
didn't even notice either. I was just listening to the stories.
We were just so into all the health stuff. But I'm going to stop the recording now and let you all say what you want to say, but also give you the opportunity to ask questions because it's not very often you get a chance to do that. So stopping right now.